Cool Kids Summer has kicked off at Walt Disney World. By the way, that's the worst event name in the 18 years I've been doing this. It sounds like an event name from 20 years ago. That would have been okay. And in 2025, it just seems like a real lame name. But the focus is on families with children. This is the time of year families with children can visit Walt Disney World. But we're not going to talk about really the things that are event specific, but there are 2 shows launching as part of the event, and both of them are launching at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which has needed a kick in the pants as far as capacity is concerned for quite some time. So it's welcome that new things are being added. But how are they? How is the long-awaited replacement of Voyage of the Little Mermaid, and how is the replacement, I was going to say long-awaited, but it's not long-awaited. That one maybe not so long-awaited. And how is the replacement for Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy at the Sunset Showcase? We're going to find out right now in Tom's Honest Review. Brand new shows in one day. That's a lot. That's a lot. 2 new attractions in a park in one day, and Studios definitely needs it. The capacity is great. Of course, on June 7th, though, they're going to get rid of Muppet Vision 3D, so they'll be down a show again. And we all know how we feel about that. It's nonsense. We're going to talk more about Muppets soon. When we get to Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After, I want to talk about Muppets for a minute. But we're going to start with The Little Mermaid, A Musical Adventure. So in 2020, when COVID shut down Walt Disney World, obviously everything closed. That included Voyage of the Little Mermaid, which debuted way back in 1992 at the then Disney MGM Studios. That was, Hollywood Studios has had the distinction of being home to several of the longest running stage productions in the history of themed entertainment, and probably in the history of theater, period. Indiana Jones debuted in August of 1989, although it's kind of an opening day attraction. They were running test shows before August of 89. 1991, Beauty and the Beast debuted. That is still there. And Voyage of the Little Mermaid debuted in 1992 and ran all the way up until 2020. And it became sort of a running joke of Walt Disney World running these shows into oblivion. Mermaid was one of those where when it debuted in 1992, it was real cutting edge. The laser effects, the water curtain in front of the stage, these are all very cool things that they did in that show. The puppetry was fantastic. It was a great show in 1992. By 2020, it's a little long in the tooth. Now, as a fanboy, nothing made me happier than to go in there and see those old lasers and those old puppets. It was a kick of nostalgia. Was it still a good show? I don't know. Obviously, the vocalist, the Ariel performer, always was a highlight. They were often excellent, and it was reason enough to go in there was the nostalgia and to hear that stirring rendition of Part of Your World. But during they closed Voyage of the Little Mermaid. They said it wasn't going to reopen. And then years later, Disney announced they're going to put something back in that theater. And the something they're going to put back in that theater is a Little Mermaid show. And all of us just went, but you got rid of the Little Mermaid show. They ran there for like 30 years. What is that, right? 02, 20, yeah, almost 30 years. Like, why would you do, you could do anything. Why are you doing Mermaid? And so there a lot of people went into this not excited. I was talking to other media friends, and everyone was no one had anticipation for this show. There were not high expectations going into this. And so the first thing is walking in, the marquee is beautiful. It's a beautiful marquee, but then there are moments where I'm like, oh no. Oh, this is very reflective, this lanyard. I don't know if that's a problem for us. Either way. And I walk through the queue, and the queue still has the same fish and the same weird little, cardboard clips from the movie are still there in the queue for Mermaid. I'm like, oh. And then you get into the old waiting area, and it's the old waiting area, but they've ripped all the props out. Why? It's just a big, poorly lit, woodroom. It looks like something out of Horror Nights It's very weird. And so at this point, I'm like, oh no, I don't like the way this is starting out. And then we finally go into the theater, and I have a moment of remembrance for the 1990s lasers. We will always remember you, 1990s lasers. You will always be with us, even though their homes have been sealed up in the rockwork. You enter, and there's a whole new proscenium. There's a whole new frame, a big frame around the stage. And it's beautiful. It has a lot of cool details. It's very neat. And this curtain, and I was like, oh, that's going to lift, right? And it turns out, no, it was a projection surface. And we've now gotten to the point where projection technology is so crisp and so clear that I couldn't tell it was a projection. I have never been a fan of screens. I have never been a fan of overuse of projection technology. And so a lot of what I'm going to say today is it sounds weird coming out of my mouth. But the projected curtain is really convincing. And I love the pre-show announcements from the little seahorse. I don't know what to call him. He's a member of King Triton's court. He has the trumpet. And he heralds you to the show, and he welcomes you and gives you all the show's about to begin. And I love that. I think that's great. The show begins, and you realize the curtain doesn't just raise, it kind of like fades away, and you realize, oh, that was a projection the whole time, and it reveals the background. The beginning of the show, again, leads me to worry, because it's all projection and screen. The daughters of Triton sing for a few moments, and King Triton appears, and so apparently they animated this all in Unreal Engine 4, which is what Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run runs on. And it will be eventually Unreal Engine 5 when it gets updated next year. So it's real crisp and beautiful animation. And sometimes there are some almost seamless transitions between real to digital throughout the show. So the first thing that happens is finally we lose the fully digital show, and Ariel comes swimming across the stage, which is a very cool moment, into her place where she gets yelled at by her father and then gets to sing. I'm sorry, if you haven't seen The Little Mermaid, spoiler alert, you've had 39 years to see The Little Mermaid, or whatever it is. 1989, whatever that is. You've had 30-something years to see The Little Mermaid. She then sings part of your world. The performer we had today was unbelievable. Incredible vocalist. I had goosebumps, I was tearing up. The Little Mermaid is such an important, that was the moment for me where I was like, okay, I get it. I get why we still have a Little Mermaid show at this park. Because that has been so quintessentially, it was quintessentially Disney from pretty much the moment that movie came out. And it has remained quintessentially Disney, and that song hits everyone in the feels, and Disney has, I think, come to realize that everything they do does not have to be based around the newest movies they have. They have an incredible catalog that stirs up emotion in so many people. And it is good. While it is, look, they should always promote what is new. Walt did it. Walt built a castle for Sleeping Beauty 4 years before the movie came out. So it's not something that only the new regime has done. That goes back to Walt Disney. They should always have a presence of it's good to have a presence of those new movies in the park. But there are things in that back catalog that mean so much to so many people that it's good to rely upon them. That's going to be the theme of both of these reviews of these shows. And Mermaid, at that moment where you realize that this is an expectation people expect to be able to see Ariel sing part of your world and get to see that in real life. And you're like, yeah, that has to exist. It must. And it's kind of sad that it doesn't exist in a lot of the other Disney parks in the world. It did at some point in time over, these 30 some odd years. All of the parks have had that moment in different shows. But right now, it's not in a lot of places. So it's nice to have that classic quintessential Disney song and moment present in the park. It's a beautiful moment. And there are other moments and then there's another moment of worry after that where Sebastian comes in and he's digital, he's on the projection surface. And I go, oh no. But then puppet Sebastian pops out. I'm like, oh, thank you. And we get Under the Sea. Now, what I like is that perceptually, at least, they might be down a performer or two. For the most part, this show has kept its staffing compared to the original show, Voyage. There are still a lot of performers in this show, or at least a number very similar to what was in Voyage. I like that. And that's the one thing I'm going to tell you I don't like a whole lot about Villain's show. The practical puppets are back in a way that makes them new again. It was always amazing in Voyage to see, I should not see the performers behind the puppets in Under the Sea. It was always an amazing moment. And you're like, and kids would be like, how are they doing it? That's incredible. The characters are really there and really swimming. And that is there in a whole new way now with what they're doing projection-wise and with video surfaces in the background here. It's everything you loved about that moment now turned up. I will say there's a lot of color and a lot of movement and a lot going on projection-wise throughout the show. I'm not mad at it. I think for a younger audience, which is the intended audience of this show, that's going to work. And I think for an older audience like me, there are great moments of technical marvel, which you end up putting up with perhaps what maybe could be an overuse of the technology. But then for us, there's also those moments where you're like, oh, they do still have all those things physically in the show too. So it's okay, you're just enhancing around pretty much what already existed. That being said, they rebuilt the show completely. All these backdrops, the costumes, all of that is brand new. The Ursula puppet, completely new. Looks like if you built the Ursula puppet from Voyage in 2025, what would it look like? You get to see what it looks like in this show. So Under the Sea is a tremendous sequence. I think all the color and light and movement and animation is all very pretty, and it complements the performance really, really well, and it brings that theater to life in a way it has never been. Maybe in the way that people felt when they saw those lasers in 1992 is the way guests are going to respond to the digital wizardry that's in it today. The Ursula puppet was phenomenal, really phenomenal. I love what worked so well for me is for those of us that have the nostalgia of the old show, so much of that DNA still exists, but then it is surrounded by all of the most cutting edge staging technology available right now. This show is a technical marvel in so many ways. I love that. And so to have brilliant performance, incredible puppetry surrounded by incredible new technology is a wonderful thing. And I think that's the culmination. That's what makes actual Disney magic. It's the human touch combined with technology used in ways or technology you've never seen before, or technology used in ways you've never seen, or in ways that it feels brand new. And a lot of this is not, it's all not completely brand new, something you've never seen before, but it's done in such a fresh way, and the technology has come to such a point that it feels fresh and new. And same in Villains with all the technology in the staging of that show too. Puppetry's great. And then Kiss the Girl is a new sequence for this show, and I adore it. I love it, where you just get all new puppets we didn't even have in Voyage of the Little Mermaid, and they look like they're straight out of 1992. If they were brand new in 1992, and so it has this charm. There's just this innate charm to these animal puppets. They have the charm of the cartoon, and then also this charm of what feels like classic Disney. It feels like old Disney World to me, surrounded by new Disney World, which is the digital border and the effects that are happening on those projection surfaces. And again, performance-wise, everyone just on point. The real show stealer technologically is the battle. There is the battle between Ursula and Eric, and there are moments where it goes dark and light comes back and you're like, how did they get over there? How did they go so quick from here to there to here? Now he's captaining the ship. How did he get over there? I don't know. And it's a phenomenal finale. And then all the heart and warmth of the old Voyage of the Little Mermaid ending with that new tech is there at the end. Ariel wishing she could be with Eric. She loves him. And King Triton realizing that he has to let his daughter go. And she magically transforms. And you get your big emotional finale. And it's magic. It's real Disney magic. Man, it is refreshing to sit here for honest reviews and say these things. For so long, Disney Live Entertainment is back. It started with Moana. The Moana show on the Treasure had everyone in tears, magnificent. And then, last week we got to see the new World of Color in California. And again, Disney Live Entertainment hit us in the feels with a lot of these guys, a lot of these beautiful Muppet friends of ours. And then a week later, to see this mermaid show, have no expectations, and kind of be like, it's this mermaid again, whatever, who cares? And to walk out of there going, man, they did it. They did it. It is a marvelous remake of the original with a lot of fresh new technology and fresh new musical numbers and incredibly talented performers. Look, I'll leave most of these thoughts for another honest review or other honest reviews. We are doing honest reviews of Epic Universe over on the Universal Parks News Today channel. And I have wonderful things to say for Untrainable, the show in How to Train Your Dragon, Isla Burke. I have wonderful things to say about Le Cirque Arcanu in Ministry of Magic. I have wonderful things to say about those things. There is something about Disney Entertainment that makes it different and more powerful. And I think it is, Disney has an incredible library of music that you know and you love, and seeing it performed by talented people on stage just hits you emotionally in a very special way. And I think that's always the edge Disney has had over any of their competition. And that's their edge moving forward. And they realize that, again, that back catalog. What we have coming up, which is Cars and Villains and Monsters, Inc., those are not new movies. Those are not even recent movies. In fact, Cars is the most recent, and was that 2006? Man, I was pretty young in 2006. That was before I started the website. I'm very old now. The Little Mermaid, a musical venture. I don't know what happened. If all the money was put on stage, that's great. That's wonderful. I don't care. The queue could look like junk. It's a show. I don't need an immersive, amazing queue. It is weird they removed the props. I don't understand that. And it's weird that they left sort of faded printouts of movie clips on the wall in the first part of the queue. It's super weird, but all the money and all the passion was on the stage. Kudos to the team. It's a tremendous show. Love it. And I think if you love the old show, you're going to walk out leaving, man, that had everything I loved about the old show, but fresh and new. And if you've never seen it before, for guests that go in there now, they're going to be wowed by the technology and say, wow, Disney, they are always on the cutting edge. And that's what it has to be. That's what Disney has always been known for being on the cutting edge. And I'm going to be mean to Walt Disney World for a minute. For a long time, Walt Disney World management, you did not let Walt Disney World be on the cutting edge. You ran those shows into oblivion. But I'm very proud that we have entered a new age, and if we're going to bring back Mermaid, it better be bigger and badder and better than ever. And they did it. They nailed it. I love it. I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to take my mother's favorite movie is Little Mermaid, so I can't wait to take her to see it. She's going to be blown away. And that makes me very happy. It makes me really, really happy. Now let's talk about Disney villains unfairly ever after. So the premise of this show is the magic mirror is getting continually begged. All the villains are looking into the mirror and saying they've been treated the most unfairly of all. That they are right to be the way they have been, and they deserve accolades and adulation. That's the premise of the show, which certainly makes sense. The show, much like Mermaid, starts with a very digital first sequence, but man, I really like that song. The main song, which it's in the beginning, it comes back at the end, and there's sort of a very modern walk-off version when you leave the theater, which I don't hate. We've been getting everything on streaming. Disney, I hope we're getting this on streaming, please. A fantastic original song, which is what I miss about Disney. Disney Entertainment, what you always could expect was the underlying theme song, the song that starts and ends the show and ties all the music in the middle together, would be this really memorable earworm that was new to the show. And then in between, you'd have all the music from those original, all the music from those movies and love to fill out the program. And this follows that format very, very well. But again, I was worried in the beginning because a lot of it it's very much digital and there's no one on stage. Until finally, there are 3 villains that manage to get through the mirror. And the 3 that get through the mirror are Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, and Maleficent. In case you don't know, folks, those are 3 very classic Disney villains. I believe, man, I'm going to try to give you years off the top of my head. Katie, maybe you could fact check me on your phone or something while I do this. Peter Pan is Peter Pan 54? No. 53? 53, I was right. All right, that's 53. Then next would be Sleeping Beauty, which is 59, I believe. And then 101 Dalmatians is 61. Oh, that's earlier than I thought. Okay. So those are all Walt Disney movies. Those are his creations. So 53, 59, and you said 61 for Dalmatians. So those in a very less than a 10-year period. Those are all from during Walt Disney's lifetime. That is classic intellectual property. Those are things everyone knows. In fact, those are things, when you mention those character names, that for some of them, the Disney version is all that comes to mind for many people. So those are your 3. Cruella de Vil, so each of them will come out individually and do a musical number. Now, they're the only 3 performers in the show. I would have liked, even if just like a pair of dancers, like 2 dancers that just switch clothing and they come out with Cruella and they go back in. They come out for Hook in a different costume, they go back in. And they come out with Maleficent in a costume and go back in. I would have liked that. I would have liked a little more performance in the show. That being said, the 3 performers we had were exceptional. My personal favorite, the Captain Hook performer, was insane. It was like he jumped out of the screen. He had the voice down pat. He was unreal. They were all fantastic, but he specifically stuck out just because the mannerisms and the voice and everything. Captain Hook had really come to life. Now, Cruella and Captain Hook make sense. They have very recognizable music. No one has a more recognizable villain song ever than Cruella de Vil. It makes perfect sense. I also love she does multiple wardrobe changes, and all of them have some gimmick where they interact with these screens and projection surfaces around them and sort of go through and in and out. Whether they come through a mirror, Cruella seems to reach into the mirror, and it's a pretty cool moment. Captain Hook pulls a sword out, and then I won't ruin the TikTok croc thing, but that's the moment in the show that blows everybody away. It's such a cool moment. And same with Maleficent. They all have these wow technical moments where the live performer interacts with the staging, and people go, how did they, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. The stage is unbelievable. The tech, the projections are the clearest I've ever seen. The screens, there are times in which I was convinced they were frames, and then there was a screen or a projection surface in the frame, and then I realized as the show went on, I was like, there's no frame there. That frame is projected. It looked so real. I would have liked a couple more performers. The performances are very good. I think the only thing missing is a couple of dancers. A couple more dancers to fill out the stage would have been nice. But as a premise, it works. I think what's really going to get people, if one of those villains is your favorite, that's great. But the other thing is there is a ton of appearances from other villains. But what struck me also from a money standpoint is they have a whole nother sequence where Hades and Jafar, who are played by live actors but pre-recorded, have a whole interaction. And the same with the queen from Snow White. And I'm just sitting there going, this is cool, but if you guys had actually cast these and had, I'm asking for am I asking for 10 people in this show as opposed to 3? Yeah, right? I would have liked, you have the 3 that exist, 2 dancers, Hades, Jafar, and the queen. Oh, that would brought you to 8. It's not even that bad. 8 performances as opposed to 3. And I think this show would be, like Mermaid's here. I think Villains is here. I think Villains could have been here. I think it could have been up a notch. I think it's over here. I think it's very good. I think very good is what I would say. Mermaid is excellent and Villains is very good. I like that Villains is very good because that means Villains maybe doesn't get to live forever. And if Villains doesn't get to live forever, well, that theater is located next to Rock and Roller Coaster, which will soon be in the hands of Kermit the Frog and friends. And if that's in the hands of Kermit the Frog and friends, well, it would make sense that they could also get the adjacent space as well. Now, Muppet Vision is just a few days away from being gone, and it is an incredibly sad thing. I went to see it twice today, and it was very choked up. A quick reminder about our event. We're saying goodbye to Muppet Vision with a glorious 3-day finale, including Steve Whitmire, who portrayed for many, many years Kermit the Frog, will be joining us. In Muppet Vision, he portrayed Waldo C. Graphic, Bean Bunny, and Rizzo the Rat. He will be with us. He's going to sign autographs and speak at the event and everything. So go check it out at gloriousfinale.com. Get your tickets. You could stream also. You don't have to come in person. It'd be great to be there in person because it's going to be very cool with all our former Imagineer friends, our former Jim Henson Company friends, telling lots of stories and getting to meet you and take a picture and sign an autograph. Will be a great time. But also you could stream those presentations, and all proceeds go to Give Kids a World Village. That's my plug. That's our ad for this honest review. But I will tell you, seeing how much they converted the Sunset Showcase and how it feels like a completely different venue from Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, I couldn't help but think, man, you could put Muppet Vision in here. And I'm gonna give Disney a free idea. They never have to give me credit for this. I will never come on here and say, I will be silent about it if this happens. But what I want to say is, I think you could build like a modular version of Muppet Vision that, so Muppets plays in, let's say, the off season. Let's say Muppets is there in certain times of year, and then you can easily take Muppets out and roll in, for the summer. This summer we're going to have a blah, blah, blah sing-along. Or this holiday season we have a special limited time show. A show as part of Muppets is Dark while Jollywood Nights is on because we're going to run this show in there. And use it as a flex venue, but when it's not flexing, it's Muppet Vision, which is what they said they were going to do at DCA and then didn't do. But I think seeing the staging for Villains and seeing where we've gotten with projection technology and, those monitor boards and those sort of things, I think you could do it pretty easily. I think it could be done. So just an idea to throw out there, something to think about. And I think it would mean a lot to many of your fans and a lot to the legacy of Jim Henson. But I'll leave that there for now. Well, what I will say for Villains Ever After, Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After. I think the rule of theme parks is you have to be better than what came before. I do think The Little Mermaid, A Musical Adventure, is better than Voyage because Voyage was very long in the tooth and needed a kick in the pants. I think they nailed it. Do I think the show with 3 live vocalists and a bunch of very cool technology is better than Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy? Which, don't get me wrong, I am one of the few who really liked Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. That was a very cool animatronic, and I thought the show was fun. But do I think 3 human talents combined with a good original song, I might even say great original song, and a lot of cool staging tech is better? Absolutely. I do think that. Do I think it's as good as Mermaid? No, I don't. I don't think it's on the level of Mermaid. But I think it is a competent show. I think it's well put together. I think people are really going to enjoy it. And I will say, if you don't enjoy those 3 villains, you're going to get a cool moment because in that show are all of them. I think I saw the weasels from The Wind in the Willows from Mr. Toad. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. The Big Bad Wolf, my favorite, was in there. Foul Fellow from Pinocchio. A lot of the deep cuts make brief appearances digitally, and that warmed my heart because that's a lot of those are the Disney I grew up with, and I know I spoke to some younger folks at the event, and our good friend Drew, the Disney dude, brought up that he saw Magnifico and he loves Magnifico from Wish. I was like, that's great. And it's something. There's something there for everybody, and I think this is a great proving ground for the Villains Land. I think this is a great litmus test. I think they're going to get a lot of interesting feedback from what people liked about the show, that people liked these 3 villains, that people were happy that one of their favorite deep cut villains made it somewhere in the show. And I think that's going to influence a lot of what you see in the Villains Land. And I think that's going to be a very good thing. The general vibe of the show makes me excited for Villains Land. All of them coexisting together is just a really fun playground. That's a really fun space to play in. And I can't wait with a whole lot of money to see what that playground looks like. Very excited for that land. Very excited. Yeah. But all in all, I think they're 2 very good shows. Mermaid is excellent. Villains is good. It's good enough. People like it. It's solid. But Mermaid's the real winner today, for sure. But I would go see both. I think there's merit in both. I think everybody will find something they enjoy in both of them. So go check them out. They are officially open at Hollywood Studios as of May 27th, 2025. If you enjoyed the review, please hit that like button and subscribe for more great content as well. If you'd like to really support what we're doing, you can become a WIGS member. Join the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive shows. You can get discounts on event tickets, including to a glorious 3-day finale and more. Again, patreon.com/WDWNT to join today. Well, that's it. Go see them. Both shows are now part of your world. Go check them out.